Napoli news. So there is a couple things that going to spend quite a lot of time on, and the first is going to be Victor and his comments that he made during an interview when he was receiving an award for the best foreign athlete in Italy. He was asked some specific questions, and one of the questions that he was asked, he gave an answer to that question that is really starting to cause a lot of controversy. And Joe Fischetti from Forza Napoli Pod put out a story on his Forza Napoli press website, if I remember right, that just took the context of what was actually asked and answered so that we could really, really see how that all went down. And here's the deal: nobody can deny that Victor Osimhen has a goal to play in the Premier League one day, right? Nobody can deny that. But there's the key part of that one day. And that's exactly what he said in that interview when he answered that he's working hard to play in the Premier League one day. To me, one day doesn't mean next year for sure, right? And let's be realistic about this, right? So I don't think Osimhen wants to go to the Premier League if he is not absolutely 100% ready for the Premier League, right? He doesn't want to show up to Manchester United and not have a great season the very first get go at it, right? He wants to be there when he is at his best so that he can be that player that they need, right? Number 1. Number 2, he has something going on with Napoli that is special. He has an opportunity to be revered for generations in the future, right? Like, it's not only about winning the Scudetto, it's about winning more than one. It's about the Champions League and the fact that they are absolutely good enough to believe they can win the whole thing. If not this year, next year. I mean, they get to the semifinals this year. What is Victor thinking? Victor's thinking, wow, one or two more pieces, we can actually really win this thing, right? And then, of course, he's going to get a much larger salary with the Premier League team than he is with Napoli, right? That is nobody can deny that either. But I think ADL realizes what he has and the dynasty that he can build, and he is going to offer Victor Osimhen an extension this summer that is going to be lucrative, that is going to be attractive, and I I don't know why we can't imagine that that amount of salary is going to be something that Victor would consider. I think it's going to be somewhere around the 8 million mark, and I think that he could even include bonuses, things like if you win the Scudetto, things like if you're the leading scorer in the league again, if you get to the Champions League final, things like this. With bonuses, he could make upward near 10 million a year with the bonuses. I really believe that that is not far fetched. There's no reason to believe that that's not a possibility. Koulibaly was making like 6.5 million. Why can't Victor make 8 with bonuses? What do you think?
I think it's a different story. Koulibaly being a defender is causes less attraction to teams. Being an attacker of his size, of his talent, his potential, he's young still. It's just a whole nother game right now, a whole nother ball game. When Koulibaly started becoming popular per se, he was much older than Osimhen. He's also playing defense, like I mentioned. So it's just different attraction in the end. Um, Man, this is depressing to talk about. I hate talking about players leaving, especially having a season like this. It doesn't really put a smile on my face. It reminds me of times like when we had Cavani. When he wanted more moolah and the ADL wasn't providing that, or he brought his butt to PSG. Stuff like that. I don't know when Victor will leave. I hope he signs an extension for maybe another 2 years, hopefully, not just one. I want to see something more out of this Napoli side. We're gonna win the Scudetto, right? I want to see what we do in Champions League. That'll really like be a big factor, I think, on what happens with this team as well, with these star
Mm,
players. What
yeah.
happens? How deep we go into that tournament.
Hmm.
Um, but until then, I really don't know what's bound to happen. His comments, they're not far fetched. They're not out of bounds. They're normal. Every player wants to play for a big team. Napoli is not a big team. Maradona knew that when he came down here. He made
Yeah.
them relevant. Like that's just the sad truth. We can become big over
Mm,
time, with proper global
yes.
marketing, and we keep
Yep.
being consistent in Serie A
Yep.
and in the
Yep.
UCL.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna become a big team
Yep.
naturally. That's bound to happen. I don't care what nobody says. But right now, no, we're not considered a big club. So yeah, whether Victor stays or not, I feel like we will still be a successful team. Uh, ADL seems to grab the right set pieces every time and like replace these guys. But I definitely would rather not see him leave. I want to see him play at least 2 to 3 more seasons with Napoli. Same with Cavada.
And you talk about, the fact that Napoli's not one of those big teams. They're not a Real Madrid, they're not a
No.
Chelsea, they're not a Man City, they're not even a
Whoa,
Manchester
Chelsea big.
United.
They're barely up there. Calma, calma.
Well,
Chelsea
I'm
big.
not talking about the Classifica. I'm not talking about the standings.
No, I mean
I'm
even
just
big like
talking
that.
about their
Man
I'm
U's
talking
bigger.
about their
Arsenal's bigger.
I'm just talking about popularity. You know what I mean? Chelsea has a lot of fans.
Them
They're
Chelsea
not
fans are getting
Bayern.
so excited about him right now. I'm sorry. It's just
They need
annoying.
the Chelsea fans need to shut the fuck up because
Yeah,
he ain't
pipe
going anywhere.
down, man. Word. He's not
He
going to
ain't
no
gonna.
10th place Chelsea team.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
But here's the thing, Mario. Like, if we keep our star players and we add one or two pieces, in 2 or 3 years, Napoli will be considered one of those big clubs.
Yeah,
That
just got to be
is
consistent. Win the
realistic.
Scudetto a couple more times in a row
It,
would be nice. Yeah.
for me, the only thing that detracts from that really becoming a thing is the fact that we have a very old stadium.
Yep.
We don't have the super fancy facilities. We don't have, these pro shops and stuff like some of these other big clubs have. And like you
Restaurants,
said,
all
we're
kinds of
not,
things.
yeah, and like you said, we're not globally marketed. Those are things that will detract from that. But success brings popularity, man. It really does.
Yeah,
And
naturally, we can become a
I,
big club. It just can't be forced. We can't
yeah,
force it. We don't got the money for that kind of stuff
yeah,
or the popularity.
yeah. And I think that Victor has to be thinking about that too. Like, he has it good with Napoli. If he goes to Manchester United or, Man City, which is not going to go to Man City, they got Holland. But if he goes, say, Real Madrid or these other huge clubs, he's not going to be put on a pedestal at that club like he is here either. You know what I mean? And that has to be going through his mind, I think. The fact that he's from Nigeria and he's playing in a city that he has an intimate relationship with because it reminds him a lot of where he grew up in Nigeria and the struggles that he had. I think those things are important. I really do. And the UK is boring as fuck. So
Facts.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you, man. I honestly believe that there's more of a chance that he extends this summer than anything else. It's not a huge chance, but I think the percentages wise, that there's more of a percentage of a chance that he's going to extend.
Okay. I say it's 50-50.
50-50. Okay. All right, man. So the other big thing that I want to talk about is what went down versus Lazio, stadium security in general in this country, and how Napoli is actually handling everything that they do with stadium security. All right, so here we go. Number one, if security can't figure out how to handle letting visiting fans in the stadium to watch games, then why are you even there? Why are you there? Fans aren't going to fight each other. The only really reason that there is stadium security is because of the away fans. So just do your freaking job. Don't be lazy and don't let things get out of control. And that game versus Lazio, things got out of control. Like we mentioned in the other segments, a kid went to the hospital because one of those paper bombs got over into the curva. That could have turned out a whole lot worse. They had paper bombs coming out of their fucking ears, flares coming out of their eyeballs. It was all game long. And I spoke to Lalo, our good buddy that works in the stadium, and he explained to me exactly how things like this happen. So there's different groups of security that are hired by the club to do security for the stadium. It's not just one big group that's all ran by one company or one contractor or whatever, right? There's all kinds
Wow.
of different specific groups. And he told me that for the visiting section, more often than not, it's the same group. And that group is just, they're not good at their job. They have a relationship with the club, so they're going to still be on, but they haven't been good at doing their job. That is so upsetting to me. The fact that Calcio Napoli knows that they're not as good as they need to be, and they are allowing them to be part of the security team when visiting fans are coming into the stadium. So I hope that they see what happened there and they do something to make sure that things are done better. I mean, honestly, every single person that comes into the visiting section of any stadium in this country needs to be searched. Every single person. You can't do it random. You need to do it with every single person. And the polizia that are there, they're there to support, but do your freaking job and support. You know what I mean? And he was just explaining to me, it's just that they don't do a good job. It just, there's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And Calcio Napoli, the actual club, lets that happen. They let them get away with it. So I hope that shit gets better, and Atalanta fans are not coming to this game. And that is not what it's supposed to be. Fans are supposed to be able to go to games and enjoy this beautiful sport in this country. And they're not allowing the fans to come. And Michele Borelli from Get Napoli Tickets, I spoke to him a little bit earlier, and he said it's all about the Questura in Napoli. It doesn't have anything to do with Calcio Napoli saying no. It's the fact that the Questura, the Polizia, just they don't want to do what it takes to provide the security that they need to provide to allow those fans to come into the stadium. I am not saying that these fans should be able to do what Lazio fans did. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying allow them to come, search them, make sure they don't have anything like that, and let them enjoy the game. Let them see them get their asses kicked, but let them come. You know what I mean? So ah, I hate that crap. I just hate the fact that visiting sections can be shut down at any given time in Italy because of the everything that goes on, and there's all kinds of reasons for it. But the number one reason that there shouldn't be is because security doesn't want to do their job.
I agree. That's kind of like the Italian way, though. Um, Laziness and carabinieri are a great combination. Even security. I said carabinieri, but just in general, like security, police, any of that. It's always been a problem in Italy, and not like a problem to where like there's crime or nothing like that. They just don't do their job. They gotta just sip the coffee and carry on with their day. I don't want to get too much into that because you know how I feel about the carabinieri there. They're just lazy. Not all
Yeah.
of them, but most.
And one other thing that I asked Lalo about was, because I've noticed it when I've went to visiting sections in other stadiums, especially in Rome, that the visiting section stewards and security, I can tell that a lot of them are Napoletani, whether they're from Napoli and they live there or not. I don't know that, but I asked him, listen, does Napoli, like the city, the Questura, or the club themselves, do they send anybody to these away games to help with security? And he told me that every once in a while they send a few, but it's not that they send a whole buttload of people to help with that. Because one of the things that I was thinking was that Lazio had their own stewards, that they paid to do security at their stadium, and maybe
Oh no.
some polizia came from the Lazio region to actually provide and help with the security, and that's not the case. He said that it's not like that. It's like a handful that might go just to help out, and maybe there are people that live in the area that also help out because they speak the dialect and they can actually talk to the visiting section fans a little bit better. But yeah, I just wanted to ask that question because I actually wasn't sure about that. I was just trying to figure that out. And then
By the way,
the one other thing, yeah, yeah,
shout out to
yeah, yeah.
Lello, his son, and their squad because they definitely do their job for sure.
Yeah, man, they're awesome. I mean, ever since we were bringing busloads of Americans to the stadium, he has always been somebody
Top
that we could
notch.
rely on, and
Mhm.
it's awesome. You're absolutely right. And his son is just carrying the torch, man. He's doing a really good job too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, and then the one other thing that I just want to mention real quick is that we should be somewhere near 400 subscribers. And everybody
cool.
out there, don't forget to make sure that you are liking all of our segments,
Lick them.
comments, and please subscribe. If you're watching any of these videos and you're not subscribing,
We want to do
that
this
is
giveaway,
confusing
man.
to
We
me.
want to do this giveaway. We need 500. It's
That
a
is
signed jersey. I don't know who yet. It's gonna be
it.
somebody though. It might be the whole team. Might be one player. Who knows?
It's
Subscribe.
okay, Mario. That will do it for this episode. And Napoli Nation, Forza
Napoli. Sempre.
sempre. Ciao.